So you guys thinking about moving to San Diego, and specifically North County San Diego, maybe San Marcos? Well, that's what we're gonna get into today. We're hopping into the map view. I grew up in San Marcos, Cassidy lives there. We're gonna show you different neighborhoods, things to do, everything in between. So let's get into it right now. Howdy, I'm Erickson.
And I'm Cassidy Lewis.
And we are real estate agents here in North County, San Diego. And this is where you come for all things North County. We're dropping new videos every single week, neighborhoods, things to do, everything in between. So if you are thinking about moving here and you want to see what's happening on the ground, we're doing vlog styles, we're doing map styles. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you know when we drop our new videos every single week. And if you are thinking about moving here, you want to get the process started, the only way to do that is to hit us up, call, text, email, whatever is easiest for you. We're getting reach outs every single week, hopping on Zoom calls and getting everybody really dialed in.
So today we're going to get into San Marcos. We are going to look at neighborhoods. We're going to look at some of the newer master plan communities. We're going to look at some of the older neighborhoods. We're going to look at things to do, places to go, and we're going to get into everything in that map view to show you around San Marcos. Stay tuned at the end of the video. We're going to get into a kind of up and coming secret neighborhood. Definitely wait and check that out. And we're going to get into it right now, and let's jump into that map.
So now we are in the map view. You can see San Marcos kind of right here in the center of North County. That's located about 35, 40 minutes, depending on which way you take down to San Diego. So if you're flying in or you want to cruise down to San Diego, there's actually a few ways you can cruise down the 78 freeway, which kind of splits San Marcos into two. We'll jump into that here shortly, but 5 running along the coast or the 15. So you have access to kind of both of those freeways, which is pretty nice. If you're going up to Orange County, it might be a little bit of a trek just because from the coast to spots in San Marcos, you're looking about 15, 20 minutes or so. So might be a little bit long, but let me just zoom us in here. So San Marcos is separated. You can see that's the 78. That's like the main drag. That does separate the north to south 5 and the north to south 15, which you take this one all the way up to Vegas. This one goes all the way up to through Orange County, LA, Northern California, Oregon, Washington, all the way up to Canada. So, and all the way down to Mexico. So it goes quite a ways. I grew up in San Marcos, kind of grew up in this north section here. So you can see in the picture here, there is a lot of kind of these little commercial. Usually when we do these videos, you'll see like the beach pictures or kind of something a little different, but this is the one that came up, and there is a lot of that, you know, just big box commercial stores. There's, as with anywhere, there's a lot of local stuff too, but we'll show you kind of the areas you're going to be shopping, the areas you're going to be cruising to, a few of the neighborhoods and everything in between. You can see it on the map right here. I'm going to bring up the northern section, which is 92069. You'll see it actually get a bit bigger once we do that, but back here where it did highlight is just a bunch of agriculture and growing grounds and all that kind of stuff. So you can see it on the satellite view, not much out there. But yeah, the northern section, there's not too many. So when we go to the southern part right here, there's not too many like defined neighborhoods. There's one, Santa Fe Hills, which we'll get into a little bit, where it says Richland back here. Country Club, they're actually doing a big development project out here. That's actually Escondido, real close to all of San Marcos. Stone Brewing, one of our go-tos. If you do like beer, San Marcos is a good spot to be because you're kind of central to the breweries. There's in San Marcos, but also in Vista right over here. This whole section back here has a bunch of breweries, so not too bad. But yeah, Stone Brewing, if you're in town or living here or trying to figure out where to live and you want to stop and get a beer, go here. They have a killer outdoor garden area. It's really cool. Ton of good beers. They're like one of the OG breweries here in North County, San Diego, kind of in the whole San Diego brewing scene. So it's not too shabby. As we're zooming in, there's kind of going to separate it into 3 like separate areas. Santa Fe Hills is this little community out here, which Cassie's going to chat about. Going up North Twin Oaks Valley Road right here, there's a golf course right in here. So if you're into golf, this is one of the main golf courses on the northern end here of San Marcos. But kind of out here, you can see all these little greenhouses and stuff. It's borders on Vista up here, which if you've seen any of our other videos about Vista, this area of San Marcos kind of has that Vista feel. It does have a little bit larger lots, a little more kind of that rural feel. So once you're out here, That's kind of the vibe you're going to get. And commuting wise, it's kind of far out there as far as getting back to, I mean, it's a straight shot down Twin Oaks Road, which isn't too bad, but if you're going to any of the north-south freeways, you could also just hop on Deer Springs, which continues through and goes all the way. So back into this section right over here where it says Richland, like I said, there are a ton of different communities, different living, single family. Most of it is older, not crazy old, maybe 70s, 80s, some 90s in there, and a lot of different styles of houses. So it really depends on kind of what you're looking for. A lot of that single family stuff and price points compared to many of the other videos we've done for North County. So compared to Carlsbad, Encinitas, Oceanside, the 3 coastal ones, this portion of San Marcos is going to be relatively affordable as far as that goes. Right in the center here, a lot of this area does feed to, you see the Hollandia Park. It feeds to Mission Hills High School, which is bordered by Hollandia Park. So this whole area used to be a big dairy growing up. There's cows and all that kind of stuff. They do still do some production, but they made a huge park out of it. You go play softball. Obviously, you see the skate park right there. And then, like I said, a lot of it feeds into Mission Hills High School, which is one of the newer high schools here in San Marcos. And then also, growing up in this little area, we were able to walk to school. You got Richland on this side. For elementary, you have Woodland Park on this side. So school-wise, they're all kind of right here. So it's not too bad. And then in the bottom corner here is all your big box stores, Costco's. You need to go do some bulk runs. Money Pit is actually a local little spot for, it's kind of that diner to go. You get, some sandwiches, fries, all that kind of stuff.
There's no true like downtown area of San Marcos, but there is kind of the main drag of San Marcos Boulevard, where most of the commercial restaurants, more of the big box stores, more of the shops and stuff. And as you drop down, there's a Home Depot that kind of starts it off right on the other side of the freeway there. And then there's kind of anything in between. There's an In-N-Out, there's Chipotle over there. There's a lot of those like chain restaurants. But then as you go a little bit further, there's a couple of other that aren't the big chains. There's Churchill's Pub and Grill, which is like definitely a local staple. There's Fish House Veracruz, which is one of my wife's favorites. Swears by those shrimp skewers. And then one of ours is one of my favorites too, is Sublime. It's not popping up in there, but Sublime Ale House is a really tasty spot. Yeah, right there in Restaurant Row. And you can see this whole center is, other than Wells Fargo, is all different restaurants. Some have been there forever. Some are a little bit newer, but kind of all these spots in here are great. And then just on the west portion of that center as well, there's a movie theater right there. So definitely a great spot for date night. You've got spots for, to grab a bite and watch a movie, or vice versa. So one of the kind of main features of downtown, quote unquote, downtown San Marcos is Restaurant Row right there. There's also, if you go a little bit further west, there's a very well-known bowling alley, which, those seem to be few and far between nowadays, but what's it called now? Bolorama?
Bolero.
Oh, Bolero, yeah. You've got Bolero, the bowl. Oh, that's further. That's that way, right? That's right. And then as you head a little bit further west, kind of just finishes off with a bunch of grocery stores, a bunch more shops, and a little bit more of that infrastructure for all of San Marcos. As we head up to Santa Fe Hills, which is a little master plan community, it was built kind of in different phases, but it's mostly detached single family homes up in here. Kind of varying sizes too. There's the older homes in there are on the smaller side, but then there's homes that are up to 2,800, 3,000 square feet. There's a great park. There's a great elementary school right there, Paloma Elementary, kind of goes right up against the main park of Santa Fe Hills, which has a pool and a bunch of structures and things like that. It's a really, really nice park there. If you look at the western portion of the community too, there are some really cool views looking west back towards the ocean. You do get a little peekaboo of ocean views there. Definitely a very, open space, and park-friendly spot over here. So there's 2 colleges in San Marcos. You can see right there is Palomar College. This is a junior college in kind of that northern part of San Marcos, rather. And then there's also Cal State San Marcos, which is a 4-year school.
Since we're at this college, let's hop into the other one Cassidy just mentioned, which is right across the way here. It's actually in the other zip code of 92078. You'll see as we pop this one up, it does cut off right at the 78 freeway right here. And then as we zoom in here is Cal State San Marcos, which is a 4-year university. A lot of good programs over there. There's some nursing programs, and this whole section of San Marcos is really being built out. So San Marcos as a whole, over the past 15, 20 years, has been exploding in growth, and this area has continued to grow. So growing up down San Marcos Boulevard, there was Restaurant Row and a few other little centers, but the ones that we showed you earlier with, this Best Buy and the In-N-Out and that whole section, there's nothing there. So there used to be a lot more open fields and kind of room to roam. A lot of that has been filling in this big section right in here. It's an extension of a little college community that they call North City, and a lot of apartments and stuff in here. There's actually some cool restaurants in that North City area too. So if you've seen our vlogs, we've been to Urge right here, which is a local restaurant / brewery. They teamed up with, I don't know if they teamed up or they're 1-in-1, but Mason Ale Works. So they're brewing some fantastic beer right out of here. Good food, really good outdoor area. This whole area is being built out, and they're expanding kind of to include some livable condo options and stuff like that across here. So this is actually a big hill going through here, and they're currently grading it and kind of making it ready to start build on. And then a few other little neighborhoods in here. Village O's, like a bunch of condos back here. On the other side is a brand new development. It's not popping up on the map here. You can see some of these dirt areas and whatnot. Rancho Tesoro is a mix of like houses, townhouses, that condo style. So that's the brand. They're still building all that out right now. So if new construction is kind of what you're looking for, this Rancho Tesoro area is what it's about. They have these, that the swimming areas and all that kind of stuff are like these killer cabana style, like resort style living. It's got that resort style feel, plus this brand new construction at the bottom, the base of these hills right here. So it's really pretty back there. Houses are going to be tighter, just as with standard for most new construction, just because that's, they're building the houses tighter, the yard's smaller, but leaving a little more open space. And then one other area back here, you see centered around Discovery Lake. I'll pop us back into this view, is Discovery Hills back here. There's a few other little communities, but just broadly, Discovery Hills is a cool little area for, if you like hiking, you could hike all the way up to Double Peak, which we'll cover next. You cruise around the lake. There's like a walking path around here. We bring the kiddos out and stuff and scoot around and bike around. And it's just a fun activity. You're looking for something to do. One thing about with all this growth and all this building, the 78 right here is the main drag if you're going to the coast or kind of anywhere. That's like the main way you're going to get in and out is gets a little packed. So they have, built it out and tried to expand it and that kind of stuff. But during rush hours, it does get backed up. So it's kind of you get all the convenience of living in San Marcos plus the more affordability compared to the coastal cities.
So next we're going to check out another one of the master plan communities in San Marcos. Not quite as new as Rancho Tesoro, but started kind of in the early 2000s. There's still some little bit left of the new construction going up on the hill and right in town, but almost completely built out here in Saleo Hills. This is where I live. I've been living here for 11 years and seen it grow a ton and love kind of just that community feel. Our little town center is, pretty awesome. There's a ton of different restaurants. There's, we have, an Albertsons right there. We have gas stations. We have pretty much everything where you don't need to leave. Especially like on weekends, we pretty much just stay in our little bubble. We got Lourdes Mexican food, which is one of our favorite little takeout spots. Shane's Pizza right down there is another go-to spot down there as well. And then as you kind of see, as we, zoom out a little bit and take a look, you can see there's a ton of different parks
There's a couple big softball fields, a soccer field, a dog park, just a ton of different park options. But then you can see both of the schools are just right there. So you got the middle school at the bottom, and then the elementary school, it's middle school, and then the elementary school is up top. So like I said, there's no real reason to leave our little town because most of our stuff's in here. And then you see a lot of those like trails that are kind of going everywhere. You can see all the little green dots of all the different trails. So we live up a little bit higher in the community, kind of near that Quest Haven Park area. And you can see that there's trails that go all the way down to the school. So that's, if that's something, if walking to school for your kiddos is something you're looking for, definitely, there's some options for that. And just kind of a cool thing to be able to do. We kind of make a tradition of it with our little one to walk down a couple days a week. So San Alejo Hills is mostly detached single family houses, kind of ranging in all sizes. I live in a community of detached homes that's kind of the lower end price wise and square footage wise. But there's condo living options in there too, in San Alejo too. There's a couple different communities of condos, but you can go everywhere for detached homes, anywhere from around 1,800 square feet all the way up to the big homes on the hill, which are 3,000 plus square foot homes with amazing views. If you haven't checked out our San Alejo Hills blog, check it out because there are some really cool shots from up here in the estates up in the hills there. And then there's a couple. So that one's one of the gated communities. There's another gated community down on the west portion of San Alejo down there. So if gates are important, there's one in there, and then there's one up by Terra. Yeah, right in there. There's another gated community there. So if that's something you're looking for, there's a few different options. And one of the more affordable detached options is a really cool community right here of detached condos. So they don't share walls, but they do share driveways. But they're really cool floor plans. You have an attached garage, and then you also get a lot of that community feel. There's a community pool in the middle. It's gated. And just has, just a little bit, it's just a little different than a lot of the different neighborhoods in San Alejo Hills. One of my favorite things about living in San Alejo Hills too is since you are up on a hill, there's kind of killer views from everywhere. But even just driving down San Alejo Road, heading west, you get just amazing ocean views. On clear days, you can see all the way out to San Clemente, which is an island off the coast, somewhere way out there.
Let's see if we can find it. There it is.
Right there, San Clemente Island. So, if it's really clear, you can see all the way out to San Clemente, which is pretty awesome. But just a really cool spot. And then one of our favorite watering holes, good way to end a week or end a long day, is the Sanctuary, which is a Lost Abbey tasting room. Lost Abbey is a local brewery. They also are connected with Port Brewing, Hop Concept, Tiny Bubbles. So there's a lot of different beer options there, from the hoppy Southern California beers to kind of the saisons, right? You got to add that in there, and the saison.
A little saison.
Yeah. But a great little spot, kind of a newer addition to our little San Alejo community.
All right, as we zoom out here, I'm going to bring us up just so we can see all of San Marcos again, because I want you to see the little cutout that we're going to go to next. It is a neat little area right here on the edge of San Marcos, and you'll see it doesn't look like it's included in San Marcos, this Lake San Marcos area right here. But real quick, all these sections from San Marcos, if you want it that beach living style, San Alejo is actually a great option because there's a bunch of these side roads shooting down to the ocean, and it's one of the closest areas in San Marcos to get down to the beach. The next one that we're going to go to is actually pretty close as well. You can just shoot down Palomar Airport Road and end up in Carlsbad. A lot of these sections out here, beach isn't too far. You're relatively, depending on where you're coming from, but even living back in this way, you're still likely going to hop on the 78 and cruise. Kind of ends at South O right here. And like I said, it's, 25-ish minutes or so, depending on where you're coming from. But this little community, Lake San Marcos, the reason it's in its own little kind of nook right here is because it's actually part of the county. I mean, it relies on San Marcos for schools, for, you know, all the infrastructure, all that kind of stuff. But as far as like building and permits and that kind of jazz, you have to go through the county. So it's a neat little community. So St. Mark, and I should have known this all growing up, but St. Mark is actually, it's the name of the golf clubs here, but it's also what San Marcos is short for. I mean, that's how you say San Marcos translated is St. Mark. So a fun fact for you, I was reading a little article. I was like, oh, okay, that makes perfect sense. But there are 2 golf courses in here. There's the lake in here, and it's actually usable for, you know, if your residents, some of these houses up here have like little docks and stuff that you could jump off, but they have paddleboarding. You can see over here. You can't just go throw your own paddleboard in. You have to go to the marina and kind of check in and either rent something or, you know, kind of, this is like the launching off area, but this is also where you rent boats, where you could rent paddleboards. They have a gondola that you could cruise through the lake. Not you, but somebody's pushing you through the lake. So a lot of those lake activities, it's not like a huge lake or anything like that. They do have a little bit of fishing, but it is kind of a unique little spot for North County, all of North County, and especially San Marcos. This is the big course over here. If you're into golfing, it's a great community because you have St. Mark, the big course, fun course, challenging. A lot of these houses along the golf course, you know, you're living up there, you're likely going to get hit. So, and then the smaller course down here, a little executive course with some longer holes if you want to, you know, you could drive and stuff, but you could knock it out in a few hours, quick little afternoon, which we grew up on this course. So we've played it many a times. If you want to go hit it, let us know. We're more than happy to get out there. And then it feeds into San Marcos High, which they recently rebuilt as well. In the last few years, you can see it kind of looks like a college campus in this picture. So it killer right here, you know, really close to this whole section. There's a few other little neighborhoods back here that go up that way that aren't like technically Lake San Marcos, but yeah, well worth checking out that little area of San Marcos.
Also golf cart friendly, which is, you don't see very often. You don't have to have a street legal golf cart to cruise through there, which you'll see us if you check out our Lake San Marcos vlog, cruising around in our buddy's golf cart. So that's San Marcos as a whole. A great little community in inland North County. Does tend to get a little bit warmer than, you know, the Oceanside, Vistas, Carlsbad, Encinitas areas that surround it. Not as hot as Escondido, which is on the east side of San Marcos. But, you know, we mentioned that just because San Marcos, most homes you'll find already have air conditioning, which is not always the case in Carlsbad and Encinitas. But just something to think about. It does get a little warmer, but it also means that we get clearer skies when it's foggy on the coast. We'll get the sun a little bit quicker too. So there are some trade-offs there, but all in all, the weather's still beautiful.
And one last thing, if you are living in San Marcos, you're going to obviously have access to like all the downtown Oceanside, downtown Carlsbad, downtown Encinitas, which is right along Coast Highway, which is super killer to go check out. A lot of local restaurants and stuff. So while, you know, San Marcos technically doesn't have that downtown area, it does have that restaurant row area. But if you want to hop out and go explore some coastal cities here, just cruise on down, cruise along this 101 and check out what's down there too. So that was a whole overview of San Marcos. As you can see, there's a ton of little nooks and crannies, different neighborhoods, newer construction neighborhoods, kind of old established neighborhoods, and everything in between. There's some cool places to eat, some cool places to explore. You're not too far from the beach. It's relatively close, kind of in the whole scheme of things, to the ocean, to a few other things around North County, San Diego here. If you guys are thinking about moving out this way, we have a bunch of other vlog style videos too. Be sure to go check those out. Boots on the ground. Some of them are San Marcos, but if you want to get the process started, you got to hit us up. Call, text, email, whatever's easiest for you. We love helping people get out here, get dialed in. We'll hop on a Zoom call and bring you around the map for a personalized tour for you, see what might work and get you on out here. But the only way to do that is give us a buzz.
Thanks for following along today. If this is your first time here, definitely hit that subscribe button. We're dropping new videos every single week on all things North County, neighborhoods, things to do, places to go, and everything in between. We'll catch you next time.